So today I thought that it would be fun to go through what is considered the easiest hack-the-box machine. Lame. That's the name of it. It's lame. It's kind of fun. It's not very hard, but it is fun. So even with it being the easiest machine, I think that it's always helpful for people to have access to a variety of resources when they're first starting out. And so I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in the pool, I guess, and show you how I would go about solving it. All right, so here I've got the box lame on, and we can see its IP address right here. I also have one of the dedicated lab boxes open here. Okay, so I'm actually gonna just go ahead and full screen this. And, oops, forgot to move this guy, so I can still go and grab that IP address. Let's go ahead and let's start out by just doing a port scan of this address. All right, so I've grabbed our IP address. We're gonna come over here and we're gonna use our Nmap tool. Nmap. We're gonna provide it with the IP address. And then for right now, I'm going to just look at the most common ports. So we can do that with the TAC F flag. And then, I want to know what the service version is on each of these ports. That way I can look for any common vulnerabilities or anything that we might be able to use to our advantage so that we can exploit the system and pwn the box. So I'm going to S and then capital V. Ooh. We're going to go sudo bang bang, and that bang bang allows us to run the last command with whatever prefix we have there in front of the bang bang, which is going to be sudo. So now we're just going to let that run. Okay, so it's all done running, and we can see that we have port 21 open, port 22 open, port 139 and 445 open. And it says that this is probably a Unix or Linux machine there. That's fine. So let's go ahead and look at what services we have running. So we've got FTP, File Transfer Protocol, SSH, Secure Shell. We have SMB protocols running here. And then that's all that we have, at least within the common ports. So before we go and we do a really in-depth scan that takes a lot of time and resources, let's start with these common ports and let's look to see if we have any exploits here on the common ports. So I'm going to actually go ahead and open up Cherry Tree as well, which is a note-taking application. So it actually looks like Cherry Tree is not installed. Let's go sudo apt install Cherry Tree. This really isn't necessary for this challenge, but I think that taking good notes as you do these is really key, especially when you get to harder challenges. Cherry Tree, there we go. All right. Let's go ahead. Name, this is going to be Nmap scan. I'm going to go ahead and grab this information. We're here. Paste that in. And let me just destroy my mic real quick. Try and fix that. Ugh. All right, hopefully the sound isn't totally whack now. So let's take a look at this FTP, VS FTPD 2.3.4. So let me go ahead and add a subnode here. And this is going to be our FTP. Sweet, so now we're going to come back over here, and I'm going to use Searchsploit to look for any sort of known vulnerabilities for VS FTPD 2.0 and beyond. See what were returned. So we've got a 2.3.4, which we do see backdoor command execution here. Let's go ahead and let's get another terminal window open. I'll just put you right here. Oh. So I want the TAC W, which will bring me up links that we can actually open up and read more about this vulnerability. Let's go ahead and open this link. Okay, looks like this is something that we can actually execute in the Metasploit Framework console, which is, if you're not familiar, is a fantastic tool that is now owned by Rapid7, I believe, that's used for hacking and red teaming applications. And it's got a whole database of exploits that you search for vulnerable versions or known exploits, and then you select to use that exploit, and it's got this really nice modular approach to tooling. But anyways, let's go ahead and use this new console here. Let's go ahead and make this nice and big. And we're going to go MSF console. And this should open up our Metasploit Framework console here. Once it gets around to it. There we go. All right, so now that we have the Metasploit Framework console open here, we can go and search for that. It should be still on my clipboard here. We're gonna use the search command and look for this vulnerability. So here we have number 0, exploit Unix FTP VSFTPD 234 backdoor. So it's got an excellent rating. It looks like it's likely to work. So let's go ahead and go use 0. So we don't have a payload configured, which is fine. And so let's look at how we actually configure a Metasploit module here. I'm going to type the option command, options. And this will give us all the options that we can set. So it looks like we need to set a remote host and a remote port. So we're going to be targeting port 21 because this is FTP, and they did not use any sort of like port obfuscation or anything like that. It is running on port 21. Excuse me. And so let's go ahead and grab the lame box's IP address. We're gonna go set our hosts and then that IP address. Now, if we type in options again, everything should be set here. And so for some modules, there are multiple payloads. So let's go see what our payload options are. We can type in show payloads. Looks like we only have the single payload here. All right, now that all of our options are set and that we have some payload selected, let's try and run this. All right, so it looks like that ended up not working for us, which is fine. You know, sometimes things are patched. Even if there is a common vulnerability, things can be configured in such a way that it just doesn't work. and that's okay. Let's go ahead and look at our next option. Oh, let's go ahead and exit out of this. I'll actually just close out of that window. We'll close out of this. So we'll just make a note here. Metasploit module did not work. So let's go back to our Nmap scan, and let's see what else we have. So next, I guess we can look at OpenSSH 4.7. Let's see here. I'd like you to take up half the screen. And you can just hang out there because you're going to be right below my face. All right. So we're going to go Searchsploit, tag W, and then go open. Oh, I believe I copied it. Nope, I did not. Shame on me. Let's go ahead, open SSH 4. All right, do we have like a 4.7 anywhere? 4.3, we need 4.7. All right, so I don't see anything off the rip here. So let's go ahead and make a new child node here. And that'll be our SSH. No immediate. Well, let's go no low-hanging fruit. Because that's what we're looking for right now. We want to find the lowest hanging fruit before we start digging deep into things. So nothing low-hanging there on SSH. But all right, now let's move on to our final service that is running on our most basic ports, which is going to be SMB, which is Server Message Block Protocol. It's used for like file transfers and printing in Windows. So let's go ahead and we'll go Searchsploit again. Instead of open SSH here, we're going to go SMBD 3. Whoop. Doesn't look that promising to me. What if I do SMB 3? Wow, lots. This kind of seems like an overwhelming amount of information here. Let's see if we got a 3 point something. All right, that's a little bit more manageable for us. So I don't think we want denial of service. And while I don't see anything here that like jumps straight out to me as necessarily being exactly what we want, let's go ahead and let's try checking Metasploit, because remember we can search in Metasploit as well. Let's open this up. It's going to load. I can hydrate some more. All right, let's see what we have here. So if you look here at option 0, module 0 here, we have Eternal Blue. Now, if you don't know, Eternal Blue wrecked Havoc. It was used by ransomware gangs to get to exploit. I think it's SMB version 1, and it's if it works, it'll give us an immediate in to the system. So let's go ahead and try that. But first, let's go ahead and make another good note here. This will be SMB. I go eternal blue. Possible eternal blue exploit. All right, let's go use 0. And now we're going to type options again. So now we're going to set our remote host once more. Come back over here and grab that. Perfect. Our remote port is going to be 445. That's fine. We can leave those SMB pass and SMB user, just as they are. And let's see, payload, lhost. So that's going to be our local host here. So we want to set that to match whatever we have here. And that's going to be our IP address, because it's going to, extra S in there, because it's going to reach back out to our machine to establish a remote connection. Because it looks like this should provide us with a shell. And we can change the local port if we want. It's fine. I'll leave it at quad 4. That's fine. We can show the payloads again. This one has a lot of different payload options, but let's just go ahead and leave it at the default for now, and if necessary, we can change. So let's try and run this. Oh, why didn't that work? Do you think you might have spotted the problem? Well, if you look over here, we're actually trying to do a Windows exploit. And that's not what even though we're interacting with SMB, what's actually running on there is not SMB. It's not the Windows SMB. We're running Samba. So, okay. So now that we know that we're not actually dealing with the Windows SMB, because remember we talked about earlier, it was Linux that this is running. We're going to go ahead and let's minimize this. And now let's try and search using Searchsploit for, we're going to go Samba 3. And I want that web link. Look at that. So we've got all of these right here. So as we're looking at this, we have a lot of options to pick from. So let's try and find the most interesting one to begin with. And to me, the one that stands out here is username map script command execution. So anytime we can get command execution, that's a good thing. We want that. So let's go ahead and check this out. If that'll load. Oh, right. I don't have this configured to do that. Let's go ahead and open the link. All right, so as we can see, it is part of the Metasploit Framework, which we were also able to see. Oh, a little laggy. From in here, you can see it's Metasploit in quotes there. But we should be able to look at what's going on. So this module exploits a command execution vulnerability in Samba versions 3.0.2 through 3.0.25 RC3. When using the non-default username map script configuration option by specifying a username containing shell meta characters, attackers can execute arbitrary commands. No authentication is needed to exploit this vulnerability since this option is used to map usernames prior to authentication. So that's all good news for us. So if you're interested, you can look through this code, look at what it does, but we're just going to go ahead and we're going to try and run this. So let's see, do I still have Metasploit open? I do. So let's go ahead and search for that, which is going to be user map script. And here it looks like that's what it is. I'm going to hit 0. Oh, use 0, excuse me. And now type in options. So we do have to set our local hosts and our remote hosts again. Let's go back over here. Let me grab that remote host, set our hosts, give that IP address. So the remote port that we're connecting to is port 139. Sorry for bumping the mic. And then again, we need to set our own host, or our local host here, which if we bring up our terminal, it's going to be right here. Control-Shift-C. Oh, misclicked. Set lhost, Control-Shift-V. Now if we type in options again, you should see these options are set, and we can try running this. And now we just wait, hope that it is exploitable. It's a good sign. We have a shell session 1 opened. So let's try echo. Test. All right. Help. Cool, so we've got some help commands here. I believe these are from the Metasploit. So we can spawn an interactive shell if we want. But let's go ahead and list out the directory that we're in. So let's try and find the user file first, which if this is your first time doing any hack the box stuff, which if you're looking at lame, it probably is. There's a user file and a root file. If you get the user file, you've pwned the user. Get the root file, you've pwned the machine as a whole. You've done it. That's the goal. So the user file is probably going to be stored in the user's directory there. So let's go to home, cd, home, and let's see what users we have. So we've got FTP, we've got service, and we have user. Service, user, and FTP all seem kind of generic. Mackies might be the one that we're looking for. So we're going to cd, change directory, into Mackies. And there's our user.txt file. And because we're in the Metasploit shell here, we can actually use the cat command. We can go cat user.txt. I mean, we could have used it anyway, but there we are. So we've got the user flag. Let's go back to the root directory, which is that slash there. And just to prove it to you, here we are back in the root directory. And now let's change into root. And then we've got a root.txt there. Oh, can't tab to autocomplete. And there we have a root flag. And we've just pwned the box there. We've hacked the box. So I hope that was fun. I hope that it was helpful. And, I hope you learned something. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the comments and I can, as time allows, respond back and hopefully provide some answers. I definitely don't have all the answers myself. So if this was enjoyable and or educational, be on the lookout because I do plan to upload more of these in the future, specifically from Hack the Box as well. I do need to catch up with. I still need to catch up with finishing up the Pico CTF 2023 videos, but those are definitely lower quality, just because at the time I didn't really have the things that I do now. But anyways, that doesn't matter. Yeah, so thank you so much again for watching. I'll catch you later. Peace.